All right, Bulls and Bears, we're back. We're back with another dose of economic reality, economic supervision glasses on again today. Let's go ahead and get right into it, folks. This economy is running on fumes. It's running on the last ditch effort to keep the economy propped up. The central bank already came out. They tried to push some verbal hopium into the markets, into the economy with the talks of rate cuts. Remember, there was going to be 3 rate cuts, possibly 4, because inflation, the war was won on inflation. That was the whole shenanigan joke that they started saying, back in January and February. Of course, we knew it right here. The numbers did not justify rate cuts because inflation is staying elevated. Of course, it's remaining elevated, right? Nothing's being done really to bring it down. The rate hikes are not enough. You've got to cut off the borrowing. Therefore, you've got to cut off the lending. But if they do that, the entire economy comes down. Remember, this whole economy is propped up on lending, spending, and pretending that everything's fine, right? So they can't keep it under wraps for much longer. The consumers getting behind on their loans, on their payments. Everywhere you look, the defaults, the delinquencies are increasing, right? So let's get into some news today. What's going on here in California? Well, the fast food minimum wage of $20 an hour is already backfiring. Already backfiring. And by the way, a sub sandwich coupon, Subway sandwiches, the 3 for $17.99 deal. If you ever eat Subway sandwiches, you probably use the coupon. If you have a family, you buy 3 subs. It used to be $17.99, and the coupon code was 3FL1799, something like that, right? 3 for $17.99. So basically $6 each. Now that was up from what used to be the $5 foot long. That was 3 for 15. Obviously $5 each. 3 foot longs, $15. And with the $17.99, went to $19.99. What was that? December, January? I had a coupon that I showed. Today I've got a coupon, got it in the mail, 3 for $23.99. So we went from three for 15, right? $5 foot longs, to now 3 for $23.99. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. California fast food minimum wage is backfiring. It's been in effect now for a month. The consequences are already proven to be fewer hours and fewer job openings for workers. So what are they doing? Because they have to pay their workers more, they're cutting their hours. So now the people that are there working, they're going to have to work harder because they're going to have to do the work of somebody else that's not getting enough hours, right? You see what I'm saying? Or they themselves may have gotten their hour cut, so they're expected to do more in a shorter amount of time. So what's this going to lead to? Well, one, I think the business is going to drop. The volume is going to drop at a lot of these places. People like myself, I just talked about in last video, that I'm going to be doing grilling out pretty much every weekend instead of doing fast food. Grill the food, do it at home, yada yada, saving money. I think a lot of people are going to follow in my footsteps. And not that I don't have the money. I mean, I do have the money. Fast food is expensive, but it's still inexpensive compared to fancy dining, or going out, to fancy dinners. But it's, to me, it's the point, right? I want to try to make a point, and I hope people will follow me, especially if you're in California. Please think twice about giving your money to these food establishments. Not that we want to we don't want to punish the workers, we don't want to punish the businesses, but you have to send a message up top, to the people making these decisions, that this is not going to fix the problem. It's just going to make things worse, right? People are struggling to get by. Things are too expensive, and this just makes things more expensive. So on one hand, you say, well, it's going to help the workers. The workers are going to, be better off now. Are they really? With this report here I've got here out of the Examiner, they're getting the hours cut, and they're not hiring as many workers now. So these workers are going to be working much harder. And I think these places might even have a hard time keeping workers. We'll have to see how this plays out. But to me, it looks like it's backfiring. In total, fast food prices have gone up in California by 10% since September. A lot more if you look at the Subway sandwiches. More than any other state. Restaurants have already passed along those prices to consumers, as was expected, and they're cutting hours and adding kiosks. So fewer hours for employees means less money, and it's going to be less money spent in the economy. So we'll see how this affects California. And again, it looks like it's backfiring. All right, let's talk about the job openings. we're told every time the jobs numbers come out, with the exception of 1 or 2 months, that it's great numbers, better than expected. The economy is firing on all cylinders. The consumer's strong. The consumer's resilient. Take a look at this chart and bring this up here. We have a bigger one here. Job openings, folks. We saw the drop in 2020, of course. Huge spike up in job openings since then with the stimulus and everything else. Wait, let me get you a full chart here, actually. There we go. Huge spike up with the stimulus, everything else. Cancellation of rents, cancellations of foreclosures and mortgage payments. Look, ever since mid 2022, we've seen a decline. Sure, there's been some ups and downs. Nothing goes straight up and down. But look at this, decline. All the way up until the recent reading here. These are the job openings, folks. So tell me, does this look good to you with this decline ever since mid 2022? Where is the strong consumer, folks? People are struggling. This year, I expect something big to drop these markets. I sold off some more stocks today. Just because I say I sold off stocks doesn't mean I'm shorting the market, right? I'm not actually short right now in anything, but I am reducing my risk and selling off. And I'm not selling off everything. I'm still holding stocks that I bought several years ago, right? Some of them I sold half. Some of the positions I had, I sold up to 75% of the stocks, right? Waiting for the moment here, the correction. And I do think this year is going to be something massive that drops these markets. Look at what's happening already. Look what I said last year. I said 2024, we're going to see a lot of unrest start to emerge. Look what's happening right now on the college campuses. I said war was going to continue. I said we'd see boots on the ground, the U.S. boots on the ground. That's happening now, right? Everything is playing out just like we talked about, right? The wars are escalating, all right? The funding for the wars. It's not just a proxy war anymore where we're just doing the funding. We have boots on the ground, troops involved, even troops that have gotten injured now from these wars, right? This is going to expand. The unrest and the outrage and the protests, etc., in the U.S., that's going to escalate. It's going to continue to get worse, right? Is this by design because somebody needs a certain cover up for the failing economy? Or is this just let's say, a happy coincidence that it's happening at this time where consumers are really getting behind and the economy is really starting to slow down? Walmart removes self-checkouts from select stores. Another thing we told you here, theft's going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. Have you noticed the self-checkouts are gone in your Walmart? I noticed that at one of my Walmarts here in San Diego area. Walmart is removing self-checkout kiosks across several states because of loss and theft. So there you go. Prediction out of UBS. This is a pretty dire prediction. People say I'm doom and gloom. Nothing compared to UBS. UBS, over 45,000 retail stores may close in the next 5 years, right? Why would UBS be coming out with this prediction if the economy was firing on all cylinders, if the consumer was strong and resilient? Very interesting. They're blaming e-commerce, folks. E-commerce has been around for 20 years. I was looking through my Amazon purchases. I bought my first book on Amazon back in 2003, back when it was mostly books. If you've been shopping on Amazon for a while, you know it was mostly books when it first started. Folks, Amazon and online shopping, eBay, online ordering from Walmart, a lot of the stores, it's been 20 plus years, so it's not e-commerce is the only reason for these stores closing, right? You have of course, the theft problem because of poverty is rising, the cost of living. People are getting pulled under the wheel of the cost of living, and they're looking for ways to get by, and they're going to start, they're going to be stealing more. It's going to get worse. Apple announces largest ever $110 billion share buyback as sales of iPhones dropped 10% and overall revenues down 4%. So in order to keep the stock from falling, it actually fell some, but they announced this huge buyback to keep the stock propped up. So much for paying their workers more and taking those profits. They're taking that cash and paying their workers more who probably need it. They are going to buy back their own stock. The good news, if you're holding the stock, A stock that's not doing so good, Peloton. Peloton laying off more people, and the CEO is resigning. Why would a CEO resign in such a strong and resilient economy? Peloton laying off workers and replacing the CEO. See, that's what happens in a strong economy. You lay a lot of people off. CEO resigns. Um, and this is one of several layoff announcements. There was one back a couple years ago where it was 2,800. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2,800 employees, and that was about 1/5 of the workforce at that time. Now we've got another 15% of its workforce, which is 400 additional positions. CEO leaving, folks. Peloton was propped up by the whole work at home craze. Remember, so a lot of people piled into that stock. Hopefully, if you did pile into that, you sold because you knew it was just a temporary mania with the whole 2020 work at home, health crisis, all that stuff. And so, what's going on, folks? Why are we seeing all these signs that things are continuing to decline, right? Do you see something big coming up later this year? Will there be something massive to cover up the whole financial crisis? Something bigger to take everyone's focus off of it? Are we talking about maybe a big attack here in the US? What's going to happen? Unrest spreading like wildfire? You let me know down in the comments. What are we doing here? But I've got an uneasy feeling and I'm buckling for this, right? This is different. I've been saying over the past 4 years, brace for inflation, inflation, inflation. Inflation's still here and it's here to stay, but that's not the biggest threat right now. There's other bigger threats out there that I think you better have some cash in case we do see a big drop. And you're going to be happy that you do have some cash. There might be some big buying opportunities around the corner. Not giving advice, just letting you know my feeling and what I'm doing. I'm bracing for this. Continuing to stack silver. Just got another order the other day. In case they throw more record amounts of money at this, when there is this big drop, what are they going to follow it up with? They're going to follow it up with huge stimulus, just like 2020, maybe times 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe times 10. We may see so much money thrown at this, it's going to make your head spin. And you might see the cost of living go up faster over the next few years than we saw over the past 4 years since 2020. It's going to be pretty interesting, folks. Stay tuned. We're going to get through this together. We're going to keep stacking. We're going to stay on top of it, stay ahead of the economic/financial curve. Please make sure you're still subscribed, and we'll see you very soon. Everybody keep stacking. Bye for now. Peace.